What's going on, guys? Your boy Amazing. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me doing the top 5 PvP teams in Grand Cross as of June 2024. In this video, guys, we're going to be counting down from 5 all the way to 1 for the best PvP teams in the game, and I'm going to be letting you guys know my opinion on each team, and yeah, I mean the best setups for each, and also, you know, other variants you can run with each of them as well. So if you guys enjoy videos like this, man, definitely make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I appreciate all the support on the channel as of late, guys. You know, we've been pumping out a ton of videos and all that, and if you guys do want to support the channel, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And with that out of the way, man, let's hop in and let's start with number 5. So I have this set up on my Photoshop right now, and with the display that you guys see, it's a lot more like condensed, and it's gonna be fairly easy for you guys to go through this, and yeah, we'll be able to talk about it and even go on the game and talk about, you know, various different, you know, options in terms of the teams as well, guys. So starting with number 5, as you guys can see, number 5, we got the unknown team. So this is the unknown team that I took as an example, but we have the Albedo, Fitoria, Hell, and Nanashi unknown variant. Now, as you guys can see, this is a very, you know, collab-centric team. There are other variants of unknown you can run, and we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. But this one I would say is the best in my opinion, and the number 5 best PvP team in the game. The main reasoning why it's not, you know, higher on the list, guys, is because the team CC is not really that insane like the other teams on this list. Another thing about this team as well is that, you know, in general, they've kind of just fallen off as of late. You know, a lot of the characters that have been releasing have done a little bit better than this team, and yeah, no, are just gonna, you know, kind of outshine this team for a little bit until they get another unit that can make them, you know, as good as they could be. But yeah, no, this is the number 5 team. Let's actually talk about some variants. We'll hop on the actual game here, and I'll show you guys some other characters you can run on the team as well. Alright, guys, so we're on the game here. As you guys can see, this is the team setup that I had in that actual image right there. Now, in terms of the characters you can swap out here, man, you have a few options. I think one character that, you know, a lot of people just, you know, don't even, you know, really use nowadays, but is still a very, very strong character, is got to be Tyr, man. You know, Tyr is still an insane character. You know, he's not a collab character, so he's not super limited like Fitoria and Albedo were. You know, we're talking about unknown race characters here, guys. So we're looking at, you know, the unknown race Merlin, the Halloween one. You know, she's really good. She's able to, you know, steal higher ranked skills. You know, definitely really viable with that. You can run UR Gother on this team as well, and I've seen it. I've seen people run Gelda on this team just because she's an unknown character. You know, there are a bunch of variants you guys can do, man, and I think, you know, with all the unknown characters that are available, even though there are a lot of, you know, collab centric ones, and even though I would say the best team is a full collab team, that doesn't mean you guys can't run, you know, some variant of the team here, either it being, you know, maybe you drop Albedo and Fitoria, you get Tyr. You know, maybe you can get the Halloween Merlin as well. You know, she's definitely another character too, so you have some options there, guys. I mean, there are obviously other characters I mentioned. You know, UR Gother, you got Gelda. You know, you got Rimuru. I know he's a very old one. You can still technically run him nowadays. But yeah, no, that would be, you know, my kind of team recommendations there. The mainstays on the team 100% are going to be Nanashi and Hell. You know, they're characters that you pretty much need on the team. Nanashi providing the 30% basic stats, and then Hell being able to reduce the enemy's HP using the Source of Pains whenever they use AoEs against you. And I think that's a very, very valuable effect that Hell's able to provide for the team. Alrighty, guys, so hopping into number 4 now. Let's actually skip over the unknown team here. Hopping into number 4, we got the Goddess team, as you guys can see. So now, one thing I want to mention about the Goddess team before I, you know, continue here and kind of talk about it, guys, I do think that this team, after watching the tournament, is actually viably, you know, a top 3 team in the game, and you can actually argue it. I honestly, you know, see the argument. You know, this team is definitely a viable team that can easily be top 3 in the game, especially after seeing what I've seen on that live stream, and you know, how it kind of, you know, went on the special tournament. This is one of the best teams in the game. You know, you got Elat backline. Specifically, this is the variant that I've seen a lot. You know, LR Margaret obviously able to give you a bunch of basic stats. You have Queen Liz for the revive. The higher the dupes on Queen Liz as well, the more revives you're able to get in terms of, the amount of times you can get it and the turn count for it. So that is really strong. And then Mael, after his Holy Relic, I mean, the guy is super strong in terms of damage. He's able to do absurd AoE once you do build up his Holy Relic, and his single target damage is insane, as well as his ultimate as well, being one of the strongest just outright nuke ultimates in the game. So yeah, that's the Goddess team right there, guys. Let's actually hop on the game and we'll talk about variants in terms of, switching up some of the characters here. Alright guys, we're on the game here, and we have the exact Goddess team that I showed you guys there. The only thing that's really different here might be the links, but I mean, it's the exact same units here that we have on the team. Now, in terms of swapping out characters here for the Goddess team, guys, the main thing with Goddesses is that you can't really change the first 3 units. These characters have to stay on the team. The only interchangeable unit, in my opinion, is actually going to be a backline character that's not even a Goddess in the game, which is Tristan. And the main reason why, there's always debate between, whether you run Elat or Tristan is because of the way, people value the backline supportive effects that both these characters have. So for Tristan here, in terms of what he's able to do, it increases Goddess allies defense related stats by 15% for each Goddess ally on the battlefield. So let's say I was to run Tristan on the team, guess what, we get 15%, 15%, 15%, and we have 45% total, defense related just by running this character. Now, on the flip side though, if you do run Elat, you are going to lose a little bit of CC. As you guys can see there, my Tristan has a little bit more base CC, but, the plus about Elat here is in terms of her passive, she's actually able to provide basic stats for every Goddess ally on the battle, and then also damage dealt for every buff on the Goddess allies as well. So she's mainly a damage buffer while also being a basic stat increaser, whereas Tristan is only going to be, defense related, guys. So he's not going to be, providing really any damage for the team. He's mainly there to provide the tanking for the team. So it's really up to you in terms of who you pick. I've seen a lot of people run, Tristan back in the day when this team originally dropped, and nowadays, at least with the whales that I've seen play the game, they've really kind of leaned towards Elat, and even going second, Goddess team is still able to do very well. One thing that I will say with this team though, guys, is very dupe dependent on Queen Liz herself. She pretty much needs as much dupes as possible, because the longer her revive is available, the longer it is that you can keep the team alive and also be able to rush ultimates or do whatever you need to do to win the match. So I do think that a high dupe Queen Liz is probably wanted if you're going to be running this team, but it's still a viable team even with lower dupes, as long as you're able to get an ultimate against a team. If you are going second, then you'll still do fairly well. But this team overall has pretty good CC at that. I mean, 230k for what it is fairly good in the grand scheme of things, at least for compared to other teams that I will show you guys in this video. So that is going to be the number 4. So yeah guys, that is going to be the number 4 right there, being the Goddess team. Now moving on to the number 3, we actually do have the Demon team here. Now this is the DK variant of the Demon team with DK Zeldris. There are a lot of other variants with this team that I think you guys can run, and we'll talk about that in the team building section. But this is the best team for Goddesses in my opinion right now. There are definitely interchangeables, as I mentioned. Your backline could easily be different, and I'm recording this before the Red Chandler has released in the game, guys, so I assume Red Chandler will either replace the Demon King Zeldris on the team or be a backline support replacement for Cusack, as he does provide pretty much just more outright buffing from the backline in terms of the damage reduction and the attack related stats. But in terms of the team here, guys, the main idea here is that you want to triple AoE with this team. So Demon King Zeldris AoE, AoE Gelda, AoE melee, and boom, your Gelda is going to be built up, your melee is going to be having 3 seeds of the end on himself, or dark energies on himself, and then from there, as long as you get debuffed once or you attack twice with one of these characters to get them debuffed, DK melee will cleanse, and from there, I mean, it's GG, guys. Like, most of the teams you face are gonna get pretty much steamrolled once you're able to do that. So in my opinion, the number 3 team, and let's actually show you guys the team variants you can run, and I'll open up the game here, and I'll show you guys what we got. Alright guys, so we're on the game here, and this is the exact team that I showed you right there. Might be a little bit different again on the link section, but other than, this variant right here, I do think that running an LR Liz backline is an option. Remember that LR Liz is able to provide the HP related from the backline, which, remember Gelda's on the team, right? So you're able to buff Gelda while having a really good amount of CC as well. You can run her in the back. You can also run, I think it is the Chandler You know, obviously the new Chandler is going to be releasing, but you can still run the green Chandler as a backline support. You have the blue Kusag. You know, I've seen also people run like even just Escanor, like, or any you know, really high CC unit in the back, just to be able to go first, because I see this team trying to go first a lot. But yeah, in my opinion though, I think right now, at least before the new Chandler has released, I do think Kusag is the best back unit. Now in terms of characters you can swap out here, let's say you don't have Demon King Meliodas, then you can run Assault Melee. Assault Melee is actually a really good option as well. You know, remember that Assault Melee, after having his Holy Relic, is able to provide basic stats for the entire team, just by, you know, or for demon allies themselves, just by him having the Holy Relic in general. So that's really nice. And then in terms of, like, you know, DK Zeldris right here, you have LR Zeldris as an option you can run, or you can run Ominous Nebula Zeldris. So Ominous Nebula is another option right here, and the reason why is because of his Holy Relic, where he gives you basic stats for every debuff on the enemy and damage dealt, and then he also does provide attack related and lowering enemy attack in PvP as well. So, you know, that combo right there I think is really, really good, and just being able to have either of those effects when you're running a demon team like this is going to be the way to go, guys. So that's going to be the demon team building. Let's actually move on to the number 2 best team in Grand Cross. Alrighty guys, so that was the number 3 right there. Let's actually move on now to the number 2 team, being the human team. Now, there are a lot of variants with human team, guys, now that we have Percival, you know, and also a bunch of other characters now that can be run on human team, so we'll talk about the variants. But in my opinion, I think this is probably the best team we got right now. For a going first human setup, there are obviously going second setups and all that, but I think this is going to be the best one, at least for going first. We have the team here being the UR Escanor, we have the brand new Percival, Chaos Arthur from the Global Annie, and then also LR Liz backline. Again, remember, she's providing the 15% HP related from the back, just to be able to provide that extra damage and yeah, I mean, well, technically extra damage for Arthur, but mainly for the tanking capabilities. So yeah, in terms of the team comp, guys, I mean, you know, Escanor obviously for the damage, Percival for the damage reduction for those first 2 turns, you know, to be able to heal off the damage the team takes, and then Arthur's just gonna start popping off that turn, you know, once he does get his chaos control, and he's just gonna start dealing a ton of damage. So yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the number 2 best team in the game. It's really hard to beat humans right now in the meta, man. I think the only team right now that can not consistently beat it, but that can do it would be, spoiler alert, the number 1 team. Other than the number 1 team though, I think it's just gonna be, you know, maybe a demon team, maybe. I mean, no, I feel like for the most part demons still get screwed over against this team as well, and I mean, there isn't really another team that can deal with it other than the number 1 team, guys. So just a very, very strong setup. Let's actually hop on the game now and we'll talk about variants of the team that you can run. Alright guys, so we are here showing off the team setups that you can run with human team here, man. So don't even mind the links here, guys. I did not put the links on, I just slapped on the team. But in terms of setups you guys can definitely run, man, one setup that I actually do really enjoy, and this is really nice for more free-to-play centric players, is you can run Jillian backline. Jillian's able to provide 30% max HP for the entire team. That's going to increase Chaos Arthur's damage when he gets that Chaos control. Also, Percival will be a lot more tanky, because remember, he's also a green ally as well. And then Escanor as well. I mean, they're all going to get that 30% HP, and she's a really good, you know, just free-to-play-ish character you can get, and you know, max out and be a very good backline for the team, guys. So other variants I've seen as well is Percival backline, and then running the Naofumi in the front line. You know, Naofumi is definitely another really good character, obviously being able to provide the basic stats on his taunt. He's also able to give you damage dealt, damage reduction with that as well, which, you know, can definitely help in terms of boosting Arthur's damage or even Escanor. So yeah, really strong character. And another thing to mention as well is that Percival from the back is also providing defense related ability, because his backline support is active even in the sub slot, which is really good. And then a few other characters that you can run as well, guys, in terms of humans would be, you know, like Transcendent Bond. I think he's another option as well. I mean, he's kind of older at this point in the game, but Transcendent Bond is still a very valuable character in that he has the market concentration and providing that HP related stats for the team to be able to lifesteal and also just give them more damage with the flat HP. And then I think the final unit, guys, you could run on the team in terms of variants as well. And remember, guys, that any of these teams here you can run, you know, pretty much in any order here, as long as Arthur is in the front and either like Escanor or, you know, a supportive character like Naofumi here. The rest are pretty flexible. I mean, your backline's pretty flexible. It could be Jillian, you know, could be Percival. You could run Yuri in the front with Naofumi, Arthur. There's a bunch of variants you can do, and you know, I think it's just really strong in that sense where, you know, because you have so many options, you know, the human team is still really good. But yeah, I know Yuri is really good because she's able to provide basic stats for the team, and also she has the, I forget exactly what it is, the Rose Shinsu stacks, and for every Shinsu stack you get damage dealt lower on the enemy, and when you have 3 on the enemy you can actually seal all their AoEs, which can be very clutch depending on the team you are facing. So yeah guys, that is going to be the number 2 best team in the game right there, man. So let's actually move on now to the number 1 team, being the 7 Deadly Sins team, guys. This is the number 1, and by a long margin, I would say. This team has the most CC of any team in Grand Cross right now in PvP. The team is comprised of 3 UR Festival characters, being UR Gother, UR Escanor, UR DK Melly, and then the Infinity Merlin backline to be the support backline. So this team easily is the best team in the game, and the main reason why is because of the fact you have 2 very dangerous DPS characters to deal with, being, you know, the UR Escanor and then also DK Meliodas. They're both really hard to deal with. Gother as well, being able to provide the rank up for either of those characters. Gother being able to provide that rank up, guys, for Escanor on the turn 1 just does a ton of damage. And then also in terms of, you know, the actual setup there, when you do the double combo with Escanor into another, you know, opposing Sins team, you need to pretty much win the match going first, unless, you know, the opposing enemy Escanor has really high dupes. And so that's where this team is kind of dupe dependent in that sense. You know, you definitely want to get as much CC as possible. You know, the dupes will really matter in that. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'd say this is the best team in PvP right now, and is really good, you know, because of that. So let's actually hop onto the game now, guys, and we'll talk other variants of this team that you're able to run that would still work as an option. Alright guys, so we are here on the team selection screen. Now in terms of team setup here that you can actually do in terms of changing characters here, guys, the only one I would say you can really do for the 7 Deadly Sins team specifically would be to swap UR Gother for Transcendent Bond. I think that is probably the only thing you can swap on this team, because in terms of the team setup, right, you're kind of banking on the fact of having both, you know, DK Meliodas and UR Escanor being the very threatening damage dealers they are, and so having, you know, Bond there for a little bit extra HP could be nice. The mark of concentration obviously to stop enemies critting, you know, the snipe card as well is fairly good, but you don't really want to swap the backline here. I feel like Merlin is a necessity because she is able to provide the basic stats for the human team, or for the 7 Deadly Sins team, sorry. You get up to 15% basic stats, and then when there are debuffs on the enemy, you get the damage reduction. So definitely the way to go in that sense. I mean, there are probably, like, you know, the max CC variants where, you know, maybe instead of Merlin backline, which I don't think is worth, but you could maybe try LR Liz back, or even, you know, like another just absurd character, or even like Queen Liz back. You know, maybe if you want to get that revive on when she comes out, right? You know, there are a bunch of variants you guys can do, but I think overall, guys, if you want the best experience, then I think this setup right here will probably be the best team variant for the Sins team and the number 1 team in Grand Cross PvP. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let's do a recap, guys, and talk about the top 5 again, just to let you guys know. So for the number 5 slot, we got the Unknown team. For the number 4 slot, we got the Goddess team. For the number 3 slot, guys, we got the Demon team. For the number 2 spot, we got the Human team. And for the number 1 spot, we got the 7 Deadly Sins variant. So yeah, obviously, again, guys, I talked about variants you can run for each of these teams. These are the best ones in my opinion, though. The ones you see on the screen here, every variant here that I show is the best one at the moment, at least, until obviously new units release. That could shake up the meta and change up, you know, these you know, teams that I have here. But that is going to be my top 5 as of, you know, June 19th as the time we're recording this video, guys. So that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys did enjoy, and we'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.